Hey everybody, and welcome to our latest episode here of Cockpit Counsel. My name is Tim. I'm the Chief Legal Officer at LinkSquares. With me today, I've got Dave Balter. Dave is the CEO of Flipside Crypto, and we'll get him to tell you all about what that looks like in his journey there. But Dave, before we get into it, do you have a pre-flight ritual?
I do. I was told early in my career, there was another executive who, before every flight over 5 hours, he brought a full set of pajamas, and he would go into the bathroom in the front and he would change into this like flannel pajama set. And I was always like, that's crazy. Like I don't want to be in, but I now realize that being comfortable on a plane is the most important thing. So I have an outfit. It's not quite pajamas, but very comfortable set of garb, because you're going to be sitting in that thing for a while. You ought to be comfortable, So
that's exactly right.
Yeah.
It's one thing if you're just doing the shuttle down to New York or DC, but those longer haul flights, you're absolutely right. Gotta make the most of the time. Usually that means sleep, especially if you're a CEO of a crypto company. So
true. That's true. We don't sleep. CEOs of crypto companies, we've learned how to not sleep. It's fine. We're vampires. So it's all good. Yeah.
That's awesome. So Dave, tell me a little bit. I know I'm trying to think the last time we talked. Last time we talked, I think was in any depth was over a couple of pints at Serafina a few years back. What's been going on with you since then? Tell us all about Flipside and what brought you to Flipside, brought you to bring Flipside into existence, and sort of how that journey's gone.
Okay, awesome. Well, yes, I do remember drinks at Serafina well, and I think we were early. This was pre-your time at LinkSquares, and we were early at Flipside, just trying to figure out what we were doing. We were running a fund at the time. We happened to have some algorithms that let us trade on fundamentals, and so we had the small fund. But to back up just before that, maybe I don't know the exact year, but maybe a year before that, what brought us into crypto, we were actually running a company in a different space in the death industry. The actual the memorialization death industry, and that was going okay. It was venture-backed business, and we were doing okay, and small team, and starting to grow. And we got interested, like many. This was early 2017 in crypto, and we started trading at night. And so we'd trot off into this conference room, we'd trade crypto, and then we'd come back out, and we do the work for the real company during the day, and then at night we go trade. Anyway, one night, the head of product, Drew, sort of came by at about 9 p.m. and I remember him tapping on the window. Hey, can I come on in? And he came in and he said, I just want you to realize it feels like you've joined some other tribe. And we were like, what? We were like, what are you talking about? And he left. And then me and Jim, it was the CTO doing this, looked at each other and we're like, we're in trouble here, because he's right. We're really passionate. And so I won't go through all of the mess, but we eventually went to the venture capitalists and said, hey, we have this crypto thing that's our side hustle, so to speak. We had raised a small fund for it, and we have the core business. And we'd informed them along the way, but we came and we said, what should we do? And they said, you guys decide. You pick. You want to run the death business? Go do that. You want to get into crypto? Go do that. And we eventually chose Flipside, and wound down the other company, and that was it. So totally, I think we're probably the only company. I'd like to say we're the only company that went from death to crypto. Maybe I can stand on that. I don't know. That's how we got started. Yeah.
There might be a few companies that go the other way, but we'll see, right?
I'm sure there's already been quite a few. I'm sure there'll be many. That's pretty good. I hope to not be one of them. I'll just say what we're doing, very quickly. We started as a fund. So we had a way of extracting data from blockchains and understanding client behaviors and we were investing where we would see customers aggregating. I mean, it was a pretty simple model on an investment model, like, hey, there's customers here, we should invest there. What started happening a couple years in was blockchains started calling us, the blockchains themselves, the protocols themselves. Hey, you guys know this, some info about our customers we can't find. Can you sell it to us? And so we, for a while we said, no, we're a fund. And then we were like, oh, all right, sure. And we started selling it. That model evolved into where we exist today, which is we actually take in assets from blockchains either through a delegation or a grant. So basically they either loan us money in their token, or they grant us money, they actually give it to us in their token. We turn those into bounties. So we take small subsegments of that capital and we go to the ecosystem and we say, all right, this blockchain needs insight built on, I don't know, the change in value creation, or the comparison of liquidity pools, or NFT behaviors, whatever. And we'll pay somebody, I don't know, $500 in the token of this blockchain to go build that. And then we give them our data for free to go build whatever needs to be built. So we're now doing that at scale. We run about 1,200 bounties per week. Our partners are Terra and Algorand and many Ethereum protocols, Aave and SushiSwap and folks like that. And we run these programs for them.
That's pretty wild. That's crazy to see that sort of shift in sort of fundamental direction of the business. Well, not only just from the depth to the to Flipside, but then even within that, it's a pretty remarkable change. It goes from okay, how are we thinking about planning and basically utilizing crypto as a financial planning tool, to okay, we have this information and now we're promoting the development of blockchain technologies using it, right? It's
That's right.
It's pretty it's pretty amazing how that happens. One of the things that most people are going to ask about when you talk about crypto is, number one, which one, if you think that any one is going to be the one that survives, which one do you think? And also, can you talk a little bit about the volatility? I follow regularly Ethereum and Bitcoin, but really haven't had a ton of time to follow a whole lot else. But obviously there's been a good bit of volatility in the crypto space. I wonder if you could talk just a little bit about that.
Sure. I'll preface with the standard, this is not investment advice. I'm supposed to say that. I gotta say it. That's what they, whatever. Yeah, I gotta say it. Anyway, you guys know legal. You gotta say stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. Full disclaimer. So the first is, I wouldn't advise people to cherry pick in this space. Like, what's the one? There is no one. There's lots and lots of different opportunities, generally around things that that you might be obsessed by, right? If you like sort of store of value types of things, yeah, go after Bitcoin. If you think a platform is gonna, one platform's gonna exist, maybe you want to invest in things on Ethereum. If you believe that NFTs are the future, maybe pay attention to flow. Like, go where your passion lies, as opposed to trying to like cherry pick one asset that's gonna win. I would say I'm a big believer there will be multiple blockchains that exist in the long run. There won't be 100. There probably will be, let's call it 10, I don't know, 10, 20, a small number of highly effective applications, blockchains that have protocols running on them. There'll be consolidation, et cetera. So you're in an era where there's anyone could be the winner at this point. There's a lot happening. But we talked with our partners about two things. One, potential energy for a blockchain and kinetic energy. Potential energy being, this blockchain may have raised a ton of capital, but they don't yet have momentum or customers or, their protocols building, and kinetic energy where there's already sort of like behaviors happening, customers showing up. So I'm still a good sort of believer in like, you go where there are customers.
Right.
If there's kinetic energy, pay attention. Like anything, if there people are buying the product, using it, that's probably a pretty good signal that there's something there and you should pay attention to it.
Yep.
I will, last thing I'll say just really quick is like this volatility thing, like the best feature ever. Okay. The best. Okay. It's not a bug. It is a feature. Like, where can you go get, first of all, in a stable volatility, if you're using a Terra ecosystem, you can put money into Terra and get 20% APY for doing nothing.
Right.
Okay. Go find me another, go find a typical banker that gets that for you. Or, Bitcoin's at over 50K today. It was at 48K a couple of days ago, and it was like, great. People should have bought in. Where else can you go make $2,000 a unit, in a day or two? Like, that's amazing. That's amazing. Like, go do that. That's the benefit, man. It's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It is. That was something that, so I don't know. I think we probably talked a little bit about this, but prior to joining DraftKings, I was a co-founder in a startup that was, that built a derivatives exchange where, options were originated and settled in Bitcoin. Easily could have been any other crypto. It didn't really matter. It was really just building that exchange. And one of our what we thought was a really strong selling point was that this can help provide some stability to the volatility that was happening in Bitcoin at the time. It was in 2014, the whole Silk Road stuff. And it was interesting as we went to talk to potential investors, because exactly as you say, they were the investors that were interested in the space in 2014 wanted the volatility, right? Because exactly as you say, where else can you get these kind of returns in any other stable market, so to speak? And so yeah, it's absolutely fascinating to see sort of that mentality carrying through and continuing, and quite frankly, if you really think about it, I mean, I don't know how some of the major investment firms that have gotten into crypto have influenced this, but like speculation due to that volatility is really what helped build a lot of the critical mass, I would say.
I mean, speculation from first of all, speculation on anything is what builds, industries.
Right.
And this one just happens to have a very different, unique feature, and I like to think, I'm of a certain age, and I got a lot of degens, what they call degens in our business, the two true crypto natives, the youngins. They don't see they don't like see it the way I grew up seeing volatility of like, oh, that's dangerous. They see it as like, yeah, like that's why I'm here. I mean, I don't want to be bored, and it's sort of a badge of honor of making, dumb mistakes. I mean, I was just in a thing called Constitution DAO where you could maybe buy the Constitution, and 40 million or so was raised, and actually Ken Griffin and Citadel came and outbid, which was even more amazing. But the Constitution didn't get bought, and I was like, oh, all right, I guess it's over, and I refunded. I got my Ethereum back, and then like 10 days later, a bunch of people are, hey, you didn't sell your tokens, did you? And I'm like, yeah, and they're like, it's up like 40x. I mean, you should. What? And I'm like, I swear to God, and I'm like, what? And they're like, yeah. I mean, it would have been like been a year's salary. I mean, it would have been crazy. And I'm like, what? But that's just, and then the whole space is like, hey man, that's what happens. You gotta play to. I'm like, oh my God, and that's just part of the fun for everybody. Yeah. Anyway, one less vacation right there, but anyway, that's what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. So, I mean, listen, you've been in the crypto space for some time, cutting edge. you're not a lawyer by trade, and that's one of the one of the reasons why I actually wanted to bring you on here is listen, you're an exec, you're through and through start. Like when I think of a quintessential startup executive, I think Dave Balter. When you think of when you think of what what this next generation of attorneys that you want to be working with can do to help you, what is a good chief legal officer to you? What is a good general counsel to you? And what is a good outside law firm attorney to you?
Oh my God, so many questions in there. Okay, well, the first is you're seeing a pretty weird thing happening in the crypto industry, or I don't know, maybe or the legal industry related to crypto, which is a lot of the in-house lawyers who get smart at crypto are, I'm sorry, a lot of the law firm lawyers who are getting smart at crypto are getting poached at scale into in-house positions. And so like literally when you go, when you're in looking, I need someone who really understands crypto, I'm going to go try to do this type of transaction, you start calling the law firms, and the law firms are all like, like, oh, you called, Bob over at blank and Mary over at blank, and everyone you call, they're like, ooh, Bob went in house and Mary went over to FTX and all these, and you're like, I mean, it's a bloodbath because they're all getting pulled out. That's one thing that's fascinating. The second thing that's fascinating is the associates now have more capability than the partners. So like I've called a few firms where the partner is like, listen, you don't want me, you don't want to work with the like real experience. You want this, 3-year-old, so 3 years in legal associate. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, they know a lot more than I do. You got to go talk to them. So that's fascinating to me. Like it inverted the behaviors.
Right.
The thing let's say you could find one, let's say you found a lawyer that, hey, there's someone to work with. They really do have to understand, like I think every lawyer is probably thinking a lot about the balance of risk and return and, counsel that, you got to figure out what's the line. I think crypto's line is, there's probably a lot more sort of unknowns out there, true unknowns. No one has made a commitment to this type of legal, a true legal belief or a legal statement about this. We're just going to have to guess. Okay. And so you want someone who is well-read, well-versed, watching closely the market, who is in crypto. Okay. That's really important. Like, I want someone who's in a couple DAOs, who's, yeah, maybe they trade a bit. I don't know, but it's much more that they're like in it because it moves so fast. And it's changing every day. You better have someone who's capable of seeing the movements in real time.
Right.
And that's hard. I mean, that's you have to commit to do that. And how many lawyers are, going to say, I'm going to stake my career on committing to this industry and really understanding every day what's happening?
Yeah, absolutely. I think about what some of the issues are in generally emerging technology and emerging industries, and in some ways I can draw some parallels to what I experienced at DraftKings and some of the regulatory clarity that we sought and eventually obtained there around the paid fantasy sports. And it seems to me, at least, I haven't been following it much since 2014, when Jake and I shuttered BitFuture, and but that was right around the time when the New York Department of Financial Services started to promulgate draft regulations around crypto and things like that. And but ultimately I haven't seen a whole lot of movement from a regulatory perspective. I'm not sure if you've been following sort of the regulatory side of it at all, if there's anything, or if it's still kind of this nebulous, like people are just sort of weeding through it, or sort of what's happening there.
Yeah, so this morning, I'll see if I can even, there's a big government, let's see if I can find it. It was a crypto testimony at the House Financial Services hearing was today. and
nice.
is today. I mean, it's still probably going on. People from Coinbase and Jeremy Layer from Circle up here in Boston, and Brian Brooks at Bitfury, and Chad Carscarilla from Paxos. So all these folks are there giving testimony. I dove in for a second just to watch it happen, and everyone had prepared remarks and all this stuff. And
Right.
one of the questions was, we're really talking about Web3. This is from a House committee member. We're talking about Web3. Can you explain the difference in that between Web 1 and Web 2? Okay, which I thought was a fascinating. It's not about crypto yet. I mean, they're talking about crypto, but like we are talking about a fundamental shift in the behaviors of technology and people. Right? It's not just there's crypto. It's that there was a set of rules in Web 2, the way that people stood up companies and how people engaged in eyeballs and all the things that made Web 2 a thing. And Web 3 is totally different.
Right.
And so the first thing is there's a committee hearing today that gives you some point of view on like what's happening in regulation. The regulators are trying to understand what the heck is going on out there. And then second, it's not so small to be like, tell me about this coin, tell me about crypto. We're talking about Web 1, 2, and 3, like major shifts in behaviors. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it's actually pretty encouraging to see that level of thoughtfulness coming from the folks who are seeking to regulate this space to really get a full understanding around it. And I mean, having played a little bit in some of the politics games at when I was at DraftKings, it definitely is something that if you are seeking clarity, it's a very positive thing to see a regulator taking their time and actually trying to get it right. Oftentimes what you'll see is failed regulation is the regulation that's passed in sort of a knee-jerk fashion, or sort of a fly-by-night fashion. And so that's absolutely encouraging to hear.
Yeah, I mean, this battle is only beginning, I'm sure, between regulators understanding and positions of open decentralization, et cetera. But it is important enough that people are having real big conversations at these types of levels. Something major is happening, and it's pretty awesome. I'm excited to be part of it.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's next for Flipside? And what's next for you?
Oh, for me, I'm just trying to like get through every day, man. I'm like waking up. I mean, literally, crypto, like I wake up in the morning and the whole market, the whole space has changed. One transformation after another. So this is I'm just trying to keep up, to be honest. So I can't even think about what's next from here. But Flipside, one thing we've been doing is we helped summon, I guess is the way you'd say it, but summon a DAO, a decentralized organization around metrics. So all of the data providers in the industry are able to put their data into this DAO, and any blockchain or protocol that is interested in having analytics designed for it. There are thousands of people in that DAO who are ready and willing to engage. And so you've got, we like to think Flipside's probably closer to a Web 2 company. We have a team that goes and provides services to DAOs. Web 3 is allowing that to be open to the market. And so, the next frontier for us is really contributing our IP, summoning, other forms of sort of communities to go build things that help the overall ecosystem grow. And so that's been pretty fun. It's been wild to see so many people come together under sort of one united front. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And one final question. I know we're running out of time here. For attorneys who are looking to get into the space, I know you said that you're looking for someone who is really in crypto. Well, let's say I have absolutely no idea other than what I see on the news and read in sort of mainstream media sources or watch mainstream media sources. What are some resources I can use to really get smart and really sort of understand what's happening? As lawyers, most of us tend to be pretty diligent people and like to go a little bit farther than just sort of what we can get from a quick Google search. What are some good resources that can just help us get a little bit smarter and learn a little bit how to speak the language?
Yeah. So I'd say two things. One is a little more abstract. One's more direct. So one is I'd recommend everyone read the original Satoshi Bitcoin white paper. It's short but very telling, and that gives you a lot in a very small set of pages. Two is, there's a sort of a media outlet called Cointelegraph in the space, which it's like the USA Today of crypto. I think of it. There's like a Telegram feed of it. You could just join. It's free and watch as the headlines come in. Right, you start seeing patterns and paying attention. And then the third is maybe too obvious, I guess, but like A16Z has a great library of content they're updating all the time. And so I would actually just go over to A16, let them do the work. They're smart. They got a lot of people doing a lot of things. So like I go over there and I'm like, what'd you put in there today? I'll read your stuff. I mean, that's great. So that's a nice, easy place to start. And it's got all levels of information and, just digest what you can find there.
That's awesome. Well, Dave, it was great catching up. We absolutely need to make sure it's not as long between our catch-ups as this one's been. We're way too close in geographic proximity for it to have been this long. So let's definitely plan to get together maybe right after the first of the year. And thanks again for joining us. And this was great. It was awesome having you on.
Cool. All right, we'll do, Tim. And I don't know if Serafina's even there anymore, but if it is, let's do it there. Is it there? I don't know. I don't think it's there.
We're gonna have to find a new location. Maybe we'll go to Smith Wollensky over there on Congress or something.
I like it.
Halfway.
I like it. Okay. All right. Have a great day. Thanks, Tim. Nice to see you. Thanks for setting this up.
No, thank you, Dave. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.